Hey guys, welcome in, welcome in. It's Mr. Gooby. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day so far. In today's video, I am gonna be trying to wrangle in these cows and hopefully get some more chickens and more of like a farm started up. And I'm also gonna be messing with my villagers and hopefully I'll be able to get some trades going as well. For stories though, I have a treat for y'all. I'm gonna be reading some true terrifying ghost stories. So stick around for those because it gets pretty scary, I will say. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the video. So grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's get straight into it. Right, this is going to be story one. Who is the man standing in front? For the past 3 nights, I've noticed the same guy standing in the woods across from my house. I wasn't planning on posting this. Honestly, I kept telling myself there had been no normal explanation. But the more I think about it, the less it makes sense. I live in a pretty quiet area. There are only a few houses on my road, and directly across from mine, there's a small stretch of woods. Nothing unusual ever happens there. That's why this is bothering me so much. 3 nights ago, I looked out my bedroom window around 10 p.m. because I heard something outside. I figured it was probably a deer or maybe a raccoon. Instead, I saw someone standing between the trees. At first, I didn't think much of it. I assumed it was a neighbor taking a shortcut or someone walking their dog. It was dark, so I couldn't make out any details. I went back to what I was doing and forgot about it. About an hour later, I looked outside again. He was still there. Same spot. Not walking, not looking around, just standing there. The second night, I noticed him again. This time, I paid more attention. There he is. Same clothes as far as I could tell, dark jacket, dark pants. His hands were by his side the whole time. I watched him for almost 20 minutes. He barely moved. Maybe shifted his weight once, but that's it. I even turned my outside light on, thinking maybe he'd realize someone could see him. Nothing. He didn't react at all. I told myself I was overthinking it. Tonight's the third night, and he's back. The same place, the same spot, exactly the same time. I've been checking every few minutes while writing this post, and every single time I look, he's still standing there. I thought about calling someone, but what am I supposed to say? There's a guy standing in the woods? He's technically not on my property. He's not yelling. He's not trying to get in. He's just there. The weirdest part is that I can't shake the feeling that he's facing my house. It's too dark to tell if he's actually looking at me, but every time I glance out the window, it feels like he hasn't taken his eyes off this place. Maybe there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. Maybe he's waiting for somebody. Maybe it's some kind of hobby I don't understand. Maybe I'm just letting my imagination get the better of me. I really hope that's all it is. I made this account specifically to post this because a friend suggested Reddit might be a good place to ask if anyone has experienced something similar or has an idea of what could be going on. Has anyone else dealt with this? I'll update if anything changes. Man, that would, oh my lord, that would terrify me. Why is he like, at least call the cops or something? Like, you can't just not do nothing. You gotta at least do something. At least maybe confront them, or I don't know about confronting them, but that is just terrifying. My lord. Oh. All right, let's get on to the next story. All right, this is going to be story two. The man in the drawer. I, 33 male, was putting my 3-year-old daughter to bed a few months ago. She was standing in the corner of the room as I was getting her into her pajamas when all of a sudden she shouted, "No!" and then shot to the opposite corner of the room and hid behind her coat. It really startled me, and I asked her what was wrong, and she said, "I don't like going in there because it's scary." I asked her where, and she said, "The corner there," and pointed at her drawers. I asked her why, and she replied, "Because there's a man in the drawer." Oh, fuck no. Oh, no. Because there's a man in the drawer. She also said she doesn't like him because he's Ross. That was all a bit strange, and I asked her some more questions after this. I recorded the last bit too because I know my sister would be interested. She's very much a believer. Since then, we decided to bring nothing up about it because we didn't want to make it worse in case it was just her imagination. However, she has brought him up herself. She said to my partner that he sometime comes and strokes my face to wake me up. And just a few days ago, she told my partner that he told her to go away because he lives here. She also repeated that he sometimes gets cross. So we told her to tell him that if this is her house and he needs to go away. We have our theory about who it could be, as we know that an old couple used to live here before the family we bought the house from. Our neighbors were friends with them, a retired couple, and they said that the woman was called Annie, and we can't remember his name. What we do know is that he lost his leg in the military and died a while before she died. Then they cared for her until she eventually died too. We aren't sure where or how he died, but we could question our neighbors as they are really open about them. I guess I'm posting this to understand people's thought on this. I'm not a believer myself. I've had a couple of odd experiences in life, but they can all explain scientifically. So can this as well, as this is the age where kids develop their creativity through imagination and playing. I guess what's different is that she hasn't been exposed to anything scary or creepy in any way. We've been really careful about that. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Oh my lord. If I had a daughter and she ever said, sometimes they come and stroke my face and wake me up at night, I think I would poop my pants. Good lord, that is terrifying. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh, no thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, get her out of that room. Jesus. Alright, guys, let's get on to the next story. Alright, guys, this is going to be story 3. The night I realized we weren't alone in that house. This is going to be a long story, but hear me out. Back when I was in college, I worked at a bar. After closing, we'd usually stay for another hour or two, practicing cocktails, playing darts or pool, and just hanging out before heading home. It was one of those places where nobody was ever in a hurry to leave. One night, after the manager had already left, there were 5 of us remaining. There was me, 2 coworkers around my age, a guy and a girl, and one of our regular customers, who I'm called A. It was sometime after 2 a.m. Maybe it was because of the hour, but A suddenly suggested, "Want to go check out a haunted house?" He said he had a friend, I'll call him B, who was known for being usually sensitive to the paranormal. B had just come back to town. If he agreed to the drive, the rest of us could pile into his car and go on a late night ghost hunt. There was an abandoned house everyone in my hometown knew about. I'll call it the Hoda House. It stood by itself, separated from the neighboring homes by empty lots, a tall iron gate, and a fence surrounding the property. The yard had long since been swallowed by weeds, and near the front porch sat a rusted tricycle in an old swing set, as if a family had simply vanished one day. Nobody had lived there for years. The rumors never stopped. People claimed they'd seen someone standing in the windows, even though the house was empty. Others said they had heard low, moaning voices coming from inside. The most common warning was simple: never go onto the property. If you cross the fence, something follows you home. Eventually, B agreed to drive us. On the way there, we passed another famous haunted location in our area. For some reason, we drove past it. B quietly smiled to himself. Not a friendly smile. More like he was looking at something he could only see. I remember wanting to ask him why. but something about it made me decide not to. B barely spoke. People always said he could see spirits, but he never talked about it. He just kept driving. When we arrived, we got out of the car and slowly walked around the outside fence. Nothing happened. No strange sound, no figures in the windows. The girl and I quietly looked at the abandoned tricycle and whispered that maybe all the stories were just rumors. Honestly, I figured we'd look around for another minute or two and then head back. Then, our male coworker, I'll call him C, said, "All right, it's just time to go inside." We immediately objected. "Wait, isn't this trespassing? But if nobody goes in, this isn't much of a ghost hunt." He laughed. Then he walked over to the fence, grabbed the top rail, and started climbing over. The instant he lifted himself onto the fence, B lunged forward behind him. He grabbed C around the waist and with surprising force, he yanked him back down. Hard. Without even looking towards the house, B said only one thing: "We're leaving. Get in the car." His voice was so serious that nobody argued, except C, who complained the whole way back. When we finally returned to the bar, someone asked B, "Did you see something back there?" B stayed silent for several seconds. Then he looked directly at C. "The moment you started climbing over that fence, a man appeared right in front of you. His eyes, they were completely black. If you leaned forward even a little farther, you would have walked straight into him." He paused. "I don't know what would have happened if you had, but what I felt wasn't just hostility. It wanted you to come closer. It was waiting for you. That's why I pulled you back." I've never gone back to the hot house. As far as I know, it's still standing. Oh my god, that's terrifying. Oh no, no. This is why I don't think I could ever go to abandoned places or anything like that, because dude, you never know what you're gonna find out there. That shit is so scary, man. That shit is so scary. Oh my god. Alright, let's get on to the next story. This is going to be story 4. Unusual ghost experience that makes me wonder. Now, I'll probably give a little backstory before I actually tell you what happened. Ever since I was a child, I've always creeped out my parents and siblings. I have quite a big family, and we used to live in a decent sized apartment. We lived in a quiet, remote area, but it was calm. Not like a creepy alleyway covered in poverty and drug dealers or anything, just a normal apartment building with an alright scenery. The building itself was not old or eerie in any way, like the average horror film. It just looked like a cozy, slightly messy, nostalgic home. I was a decently weird kid. I would often sleepwalk, sleep talk, scream loudly for my dreams, or cry until everyone, not only in my homes, but everyone would wake up all the time from my reckless, noisy habits. I was the eldest child, so a lot of other families were shocked that the core of my parents' problems was me. As you know, the eldest is usually expected to be another mature figure in the younger siblings' lives. We went to a lot of doctors to see if I had any psychological problems or just some sort of paranoia of sleep due to trauma response. I was given everything, but all my options ran cold eventually, and none of the prescribed ended up helping my same occurring dream and thoughts. Now, the weird thing is that the dream, step by step, is always implanted in my brain. I'm a younger version of myself playing in a backyard that's unrecognizable, like I've never seen it before. Not in some movie or series. I'm playing with this normal doll which always looked like one of my family members. But once I looked down, I realized the hands and the feet of this doll are bound with heavy chains. I feel the pain of the weight of the item and drop it immediately. And once I do that, I silently look at the doll for a moment before feeling a bead of rain drop down my forehead. I turn to look to the sky and see this very tall lady looking down at me, but her neck is elongated and her arms reach down to her ankles. She has a mole right in the middle of her chin, and she doesn't have any eyelids at all. She warns me about something every single dream, whispering down my ear something new every single time. How misfortune was coming my way, or how I was in incredible danger, or that grief would make its way around to me. And after she said that, my neck would build with pressure, almost like a finger or a rope tying my neck. I could see my reflection through the droplets of the floor, my face going a darker shade of purple as the pain starts to go throughout my body. It felt like I was on fire, and I would wake up unable to move, and that same woman would be staring down at me, putting her finger to my lips and getting closer and closer to my face. Her breath was cold, smelling like a rotten animal meat, telling me to not tell anybody about her before I would wake up, and an extremely sore throat and excruciating leg pain. After another experience, my mother had taken me to some sort of therapist. On the way there, she complained about the pricing and how I should just tell what I'm experiencing. As soon as I left the car and I was in that room, I cried my eyes out about how this woman scared the living crap out of me. I told him everything, her appearance, her threats. I was scared to death. But in the end, he told me I should just get some melatonin gummies to help with the sleep. Like always, the creepy experience is when I had gotten back. When I had take off my shoes at the door, I felt like a strong, rotting smell nearby my room. I felt tears basically roll down my face before I decided to open the door. A dead badger was left in my room. I don't know how long it could have been there. I watched the flies drop on the body, a few maggots still crawling. I walked close to the body to see dirty fingernail right beside the body. It was long and overgrown, the exact same to the woman who dug her nails into my neck in my dream. And after that, the things in my room would disappear. Important items like keys or teddy bears I couldn't sleep without, and I would never see them again. Just trails of something, like hair or a hanging nail. The evidence was always there, reminding me to never open my mouth again. A couple years later, we moved, and I had never experienced that dream again. I actually forgot about what happened entirely until I saw one of my old one on one session books with a drawing of this lady. I could never forget the way her hands tightened around my neck and the smell of her breath on my skin. Oh my god. I what do you even do? What do you do? That house has got like her room is definitely haunted. Are you kidding me? And then her mom is just complaining about her poor daughter being terrified by this disgusting, tall, giant old lady woman ghost thing. Oh my god. Oh my god. And then the dead badger left in the room, like, oh my god. That is fucking terrifying. That room is 100% haunted. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, that's so scary. Oh my god. I think I would just die. I think I would just die. All right, guys. That is going to be the end of the stories. I hope you all have enjoyed those terrifying stories because I did. I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight. But other than that, I really do hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, please. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Please be safe out there, guys. And peace.